our town clerk announcing the election results.
Good evening, everyone. For selectmen, we have Lloyd Cutler and Robert Luce. The sanitary district, we have Dutch Demshar and Neil Trask. School committee for 3 years, we have Stephen Arner and Jennifer McCormick and Deirdre Frey for 1 year. Congratulations to everybody. There might be a meeting, there might be a recount, I don't know.
Okay, we'll resume the meeting. We left off this morning before the elections. And that is Article 3 needs to be done, which is choose the order, rules of order to conduct the meeting. And if there's no objection, I would use the Maine Municipal Association Moderators Manual.
So moved. Second.
You can't quite hear it like that.
Can you hear this? If you can't hear me, raise your hand. Been moved and seconded that we use the Maine Moderators Manual. Oh, there are plenty of seats up here. Next year, we're going to take the front row and put it back. All right, it's been moved and seconded we use the Maine Moderators Manual. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's a vote. So, Article 4, to see if the town will vote to determine the date taxes shall be due is October 1st, 2019, and the rate of interest to be charged on unpaid taxes is 6% per year, and the date such interest commences as October 2nd, 2019, recommended by the Board of Selectmen.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to sell and dispose of any town-owned tax-acquired property on such terms as they deem advisable and execute release deeds in the name of the town for such property, recommended by the Board of Selectmen.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. To see if the town will vote will authorize the municipal officers to spend an amount not to exceed 1/4 of the 2019 annual budget during the period from January 1, 2020 to March 2021 annual town meeting. Is there a motion?
We need to amend that.
Well, we're going to get a motion on the floor first.
So moved.
All right, it's been moved and seconded, and there's something that needs to be corrected there. It should read March 2020, not 2021. Somebody moved that, didn't they? Okay, it's been moved to accept that amendment. Any second? I heard one.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's on the amendment. To see if the town, and then to authorize, it would now read the same as I read it before, except January 1, 2020 to March 2020 annual town meeting. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $166,364 for officers' salary, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 8, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $82,000 for town operating expenses, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 9, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $33,900 for assessing, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 10, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $60,100 for code enforcement. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $11,400 for planning board expenses. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 12, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $14,350 for the Selectmen's Contingency Fund to meet unanticipated expenses, contribution requests, and emergencies that arise during fiscal 2019. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $87,362 for police protection. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's a vote. Article 14, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $158,245 for the Communications Center operations. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $93,108 for fire department equipment reserve account. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
Skip one. 15.
Oh, I skipped one. Well, Courtney didn't need that anyway. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $93,108 for fire department operating expenses. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $36,745 for the fire department equipment reserve account. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 17, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $60,000 for the new mountain location fire station reserve fund and to expend some of these funds for developing plans for a proposed building and site. And there's a note that says about if adequate planning functions are completed and sufficient estimate is developed in time for a new fire station to be substantially started in 2019, then we come back for a special town meeting. Do I hear a motion? Oh, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Stan.
I'm all for the fire department. I'm not an expert in what we need there, so I'm not going to get into that at all. But I don't like the leasing versus buying the land. We're going to invest maybe as much as $1.2 million. And we've never done that before. We've never leased. Bob did say to me the other night that we did that with the AG Center, but I did some investigation, and we do have a deed with CBA to the CBA, to the AG, and I think we have a deed to the library. So I don't want to make an amendment from the floor, but I just want everybody, because there's a good big crowd here, to know that we should think about the leasing. We're going to be asked, maybe May this year, maybe this fall, I don't know when, but we're going to be asked sometime to approve this and vote on it. And I'm all for it, except we need to buy the land or look at alternate sites. And I've checked a couple of possibilities, and I'm not an expert on that either. But I don't want to see this just whiz through and lease it for 50 years. Most of us won't be here in 50 years, but somebody will be. And when you're in a lease, if you need to expand or you need to improve something or whatever, you've got to go back to get approvals. And let's just buy the land, even if we have to up that 1.2 billion some. Thank you. Million. Billion. Million. Any comments by the planning board? I mean the selectmen or the town manager?
Right. At the moment, the proposal coming back from the mountain is a 50-year lease. Nothing has been formalized with it. It's still in the discussion stages. And we have no formal negotiations with it. What the proposal is, and the memorandum of understanding says that the proposal is a 50-year lease.
Okay.
We'd obviously go back and take a look at additional renewal periods of time. And one of the options that we could have would be exploring a right of first refusal. But as I said, we haven't gotten to the point of negotiations yet on that lease.
Okay. Well, the reason I came here is I was at a selectman meeting a couple meetings ago, and it just sort of sounded like, you know, it was going to be a lease and that's all the mountain would do. And I made some pretty strong comments at that meeting as well. I'd just like to know that whoever is doing the negotiation is pushing to buy this land. And because there's a common interest here. We need the fire department. The mountain needs it. It's good for real estate sales. It's good for everything. And I don't see why we can't buy that. I would want to see a damn good reason why they couldn't convey the land if we were willing to pay for it before we go further.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 18, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $70,513 for ambulance service subsidy, North Star EMS, recommended by the Budget Committee.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $2,320 for animal control, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 20, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $40,000 for town insurance policy coverages, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 21, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $76,000 for Recreation Department expenses and programs, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $216,982 for expenditures for the anti-gravity complex. And there's a note to the effect there are offsetting revenues in another article. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is Article 22. I believe it should refer up to warrant Article 59 and not 57.
No, it's just a note to start with. Having said that, it's just a note, but it does affect the article, but you're right, the reference should have been to Article 59.
Thank you. We don't need to amend the article for that because it's just an explanatory note. Thank you for pointing that out. We haven't voted on that yet, have we? It's been moved and seconded. Is there other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 23, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $8,000 for recreation facilities as follows. Program, playground repairs and equipment replacement, $1,000. Pool reserve, $4,000. Town park capital improvements, $2,000. Outdoor center operations, $1,000 for a total of $8,000. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 24, to see if the town will vote to expend up to $80,000 from town unappropriated surplus to expand the pavilion at the town park and to build a storage building for town recreation equipment. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Article 25, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $24,000 for the JV Wing Snowmobile Club for snowmobile trail grooming and maintenance, and to see if the town will vote to appropriate the money received from the state from the registration of snowmobiles, estimated to be $300, to the JV Wing Snowmobile Club, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 26, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $23,000 for mountain bike trail development and maintenance as follows. Trail development on the public lot, $15,000. Trail maintenance, $8,000. Total of $23,000. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Where in the public law are you going to be doing the trail development?
Yeah, if you look on page 30 in your town report, I can tell you right now, but it's, there's a whole page devoted to the mountain bike program on page 30. It shows all of the proposed mountain bike trail development and funding and where the funding's coming from. If you look down at the bottom of this page, it says possible 2019 projects, and those would include, those are to include about a mile and a half of new trail started last year, and about a half mile tread work, and that would be on the lower part of the public lot, sort of east on the lower side from where the center is. And these would be green trails to accommodate beginners. That is something that we've started on. The next one would be improvements to the approach trail, which is near the Bigelow Preserve, and that's about a 4-week project. And then there's a lot of discussion with Sugarloaf, and Sugarloaf has offered to contribute $15,000 to be matched by previous town funds. You'll see it up above, to build a trail on Snubber, a chairlift that would go from Snowbrook up to the base lodge to accommodate traffic up to the base lodge. It's been something we talked about for a long time, and there's a 300-foot elevation change there, and we're hopeful we can, we're putting in proper switchbacks, at least try to kill some of that elevation change and make a proper trail from the base lodge down to the person. But that's what's proposed for this coming year.
Yeah, my only concern is providing adequate buffers between landowners and their trail development, should it be near any of the property owners, if there'd be a good buffer between them.
Yeah, there's 2,100 acres in the town lot. This would be, some of this would be on private land. It would would be on Snubber. Now, we've got to talk to Sugarloaf and the condominium associations, and that's being addressed now, or is going to be addressed shortly. We had a recent trail committee meeting, and there's another one planned for early October to try to address some of those issues.
Is there further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 27, see if the town will vote to place up to $67,658 of FEMA and state funds received and anticipated into a narrow gauge pathway capital repair reserve fund, and to expend this fund for capital repair purposes on the narrow gauge pathway, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 28, see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to implement the recommendations of the Town Law Forest Management Plan and to expend revenues received from the proceeds of the implementation for costs associated with forest management activities and maintenance and improvements to the outdoor center roads and trails and other amenities. And there's a note, it's anticipated some of these funds may be used for a new trail signage project. Some of these funds will also be used for the outdoor center trail bridge replacement project. As of 12/31/18, there was $281,500 in that reserve fund, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 29, see if the town will vote to expend the following amounts from the Recreation Endowment Fund for the following purposes. McDonald Junior Golf Program, $2,841, an amount equal to 2018 donations for this program. Town matching funds for the Mountain Bike Club grants and donations, $15,000 for trail planning and development. Town matching funds for the Carrabassett Valley ATV Club for trail projects to match club grants and funding to maintain and improve the ATV trail network, $15,000. If there's more to this article or not. Yep. Town matching funds to assist the nonprofit Longfellow Mountains Heritage Trails, Inc. develop a multi-use people-powered trail that, if successful, would extend from Kingfield to Coben Gore, $2,500. Town matching funds to assist the Carrabassett Valley Outdoor Association in stocking the outdoor center pool with fish, $350. Total of $35,691. And there's a note to the effect that, as in past practice, all expenditures from the Recreation Endowment Fund require at least a 1-to-1 match. And as of 12/31/18, there was $351,000 in this reserve fund.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 30, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $50,000 to be placed into the Recreation Endowment Reserve Fund, and in addition to place revenues from the cell tower lease, estimated to be $12,500, into this reserve fund. Budget Committee recommends approval.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 31, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $67,154 for the operation of the Carrabassett Valley Town Library, Carrabassett Valley Public Library. Budget Committee recommends approval.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's a vote. Article 32, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $32,950 for the operation of the community center building. Budget Committee recommends approval.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 33, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $26,150 to operate the airport. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 34, to see if the town will vote to transfer airport revenues collected estimated to be $4,000 into the airport reserve fund and to expend funds from the reserve as the town's share of the town approved projects. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 35, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $73,750 for maintenance and plowing of town roads, parking lots, streetlights, and for street and house number signage. Not included in this amount was our estimated expenses of $12,000 for annual maintenance of the carriage road, as per the terms and conditions set forth in the annual road use permit with the Penobscot Indian Nation.
So moved. Second.
Oh, recommended by the Budget Committee. There's a motion, there's a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 36, see if the town will vote to place State of Maine NBOT highway funds estimated to be $3,700 in the town's highway reserve fund and to expend this reserve funding for town highway projects. Note, we anticipate expending some of these funds for improvement to the outdoor center road. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 37, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $22,480 for the maintenance, repairs, and improvements to town buildings and grounds. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 39, see if the vote will vote to raise. I just scratched it out. Article 38, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $10,000 for the reserve fund and to fund a future town office expansion project. Based on a preliminary estimate, it would cost approximately $60,000 to expand the town clerk's office, the lobby area, the fireproof vault, and to provide additional storage. There's currently $25,000 in this reserve. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 39, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $140,860 for transportation services. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 40, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $247,900 for solid waste disposal and recycling. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 41, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $368,066 for obligated debt and to see if the town will vote to accept and expend an additional $157,071 in payments from Sugarloaf Mountain Corporation as their contractual share of town debt service. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 42, to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate $197,600 for employee benefits and requirements. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 43, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $6,000 for Flagstaff Area Business Association. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 44, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $6,000 for maintenance of the Information Center. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 45, to see if the town will vote to expend up to $35,000 from unappropriated surplus to make improvements to the Information Center building and lot consisting of digging and installing a well and septic system, providing additional parking, and making minor repairs and improvements to the Information Center building. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion?
What's the intended purpose of that? Is that going to be open to the public?
It would be we don't have a septic system there, and what's there now is a holding tank, and the bathroom doesn't work because it's been non-functional for some time. And the building has water from an airport well that's not portable, and so that building really is without a well and a septic system. So I think to answer your question, visitors to the information center would probably be able to use the bathroom, but not just the traveling public, because that's what we built the infamous comfort station in agreements with IOTS across the street. And I think it's been successful to date until we got some frozen pipes recently. But having said that, the idea would be that area, the information center, the parking area was in the drive, the accessibility for vehicles, especially large trucks, wasn't very good, and so we built that across the street. I think it's worked fairly well. The people, the staff, to answer your question, the staff and visitors to the center would use the bathroom. That's the intent.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion?
I have a question. What kind of improvements to the building itself other than the bathroom and the septic would be done?
Bathroom primarily. When we get into it, we're not really sure what we're going to be dealing with. If you've been in the building, you know it's a very tiny bathroom, not really very inviting. So the idea would be to take a look at that and see if we can improve that bathroom area. That's really, and if there's any outside tweaks to the building, etc., some of that can come out of the maintenance money that you previously approved. But the idea would be to improve the parking, well, the septic, and then the bathroom.
Is there further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 46, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $15,000 for ski club scholarship grants, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 47, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $12,000 for the town scholarship fund, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 48, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,200 for seasonal lighting, recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 49, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,000 for maintenance and improvements to the cemetery. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's a vote. Article 50, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $10,000 to be matched by Sugarloaf Mountain Corporation for the Golf Course Reserve Fund and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to expend those funds for golf course capital repairs and improvements. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 51, see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $8,000 for the golf course clubhouse reserve and to expend those funds for the town's capital maintenance responsibilities associated with the clubhouse building. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 52, to see if the town will vote to expend revenues collected from the annual rental agreement fee from the lease of the outdoor center to Sugarloaf for capital repairs and improvements to the outdoor center facility and to place excess revenues into the outdoor center capital reserve. As a note that the town has received $10,000 a year for the past several years. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 53, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $2,000 for general assistance aid. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 54, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $2,000 to assist the Sugarloaf Area Christian Ministry Sea Valley Network Seniors Committee in providing an elderly services coordinator to encourage an aging community to pursue long-term residency and independence in our area, providing daily telephone contacts and a web-based network of resources and services available. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 55, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $2,000 for expenses for the Carrabassett Valley History Committee. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 56, to see if the town will vote to carry the following account balances forward.
Mr. Moderator, I move for a positive amount of $287,276 and a negative amount of $198,409.
Second.
That's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 57, to see if the town will vote to expend funds in excess of $1,500 from the mountain bike race that is generated to provide funding for the Carrabassett Valley Mountain Bike Club for trail development and maintenance. As a note, this funding is revenue from the annual mountain bike race that's sponsored by the town but managed by the club. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 58, see if the town will accept the categories of funds listed below and provided by the Maine State Legislature. State revenue sharing, estimated at $10,000. Tree growth reimbursement, estimated at $16,000. Local road assistance program, estimated at $3,600. Veterans exemption reimbursement, $250 for a total of $29,850. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 59, see if the town will vote to expend the following revenues from the following accounts to reduce the property tax commitment.
Mr. Moderator, I move the sum of $535,200.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 60, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to contract with Snowfields Productions, operator of WSKI-TV Channel 17, to expend up to 30% of town revenues received from the cable TV franchise fees to provide a Town of Carrabassett Valley marketing and promotional program on terms and conditions the board deems to be in the best interest of the town. Recommended by the Budget Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 61, see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen on behalf of the town to apply for, accept, and expend federal, state, and other sources of revenues for town purposes during the fiscal year 2019. This does not include any monetary local match the town may need for these grants. Board of Selectmen recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor? Any opposed? It's a vote. Article 62, to see if the town will vote to appropriate funds from overlay for abatements and overdrafts. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 63, shall the town of Carrabassett Valley approve the acquisition of approximately 250 acres of land owned by Jordan Lumber Company Partners, LLC, aka the Ted Jones Lot, and access amendments to such land, altogether called the project. Appropriate a sum not to exceed $160,000 to provide for the costs of the project, and authorize the treasurer and chairman of the Board of Selectmen to issue general obligation securities of the town of Carrabassett Valley, Maine, to fund an appropriation in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $160,000, and the discretion to fix the dates, maturities, calls for redemption, refunding, places of payment form, and other details of said securities, including execution and delivery of said securities on behalf of the town of Carrabassett Valley, to provide for the sale thereof, and to execute any and all other documents and agreements related thereto, all subject to the condition that the Board of Selectmen make a finding prior to the issuance of such securities that adequate access rights will be or have been obtained to the carriage road. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Yes, sir.
My name is Bill Gilmore, and I'm a non-resident. I'm a non-taxpayer. But if you would give me permission to speak to this, I'd like to.
That's okay. You have lots of credit.
First of all, I'm not sure that the acreage is right, but I think that's really irrelevant in terms of what you're trying to accomplish here. There was a time in our lives when the narrow gauge railroad from Bigelow Station through to and into Kingfield Village was pretty much open season for recreational opportunities. Larry Warren years ago had the foresight to recognize that. And his goal at that time was to try to make that work so that recreational amenities could flow from Kingfield to Carrabassett and vice versa. The only thing that I can think of that might be the struggle would be acquiring an easement across one of the upper sections of the real estate to get us to Carrabassett Village. But in honesty, if you look at this town and what it's done through the years for recreation, you've been pretty damn successful.
And I would hope that the money that you can go out and borrow over a long-term investment would be a wise investment for you to think about. Thank you.
Thanks, Billy. Is there further discussion? I should have noted that there's a financial statement that goes with this resolution that demonstrates the payment, the addition of this amount to funded indebtedness and an estimated interest cost based on an estimated interest rate. Is there further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Article 64, shall the town vote to adopt the following resolution? A statement of the voters from Carrabassett Valley on March 13, 2019. Witness, whereas the Franklin County's commissioners have funded economic development and social services programs that serve the entire region for over 35 years, and whereas the Franklin County commissioners have vowed to cut all funding on social services agencies and economic development programs over the next 3 years, and whereas the Franklin County commissioners have cut $143,000 from the budget request of $209,000 in 2017, $31,000 from the budget request of $94,200 in 2018, and totally defunded 6 nonprofits. And whereas the Franklin County Commissioners plan to defund the remaining 3 nonprofits in the future, and whereas these organizations and their important services benefit the entire region and improve the quality of life for our residents, now therefore the town of Carrabassett Valley requests that Franklin County reverse the policy of not funding these programs, restore funding to these organizations, and continue the regional approach for these services. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's a vote. Madam Clerk, is there any further business to come before the meeting?
I hate to keep people late, but I do have a couple announcements. First of all, it being town meeting day, a couple of your public servants, let's say, have birthdays today. Dave Coda, our town manager, and William Gilmore. It's their birthday today, and they have served us all day long and very well. So happy birthday to them.
Are you going to sing?
If you'd like to sing, you may.
Oh, sure.
You start off.
I'll get it started. How about
All
that?
right.
And who is it?
Billy Gilmore.
Billy and
Dave.
Dave. We'll go alphabetical. We can do them both at once. Right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Billy and Dave. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, but I think Billy and I stopped counting birthdays. But thank you.
And then one more announcement. We have a very special retirement to celebrate Billy Gilmore's retirement right here, May 11th, from 4 to 7. Please come if you can.
Minutes. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn. I heard a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Any more songs? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. That's a